Okay, brother Mahmood, first of all, welcome back to the show. How are you? It's been a long time.
Thank you for having me, brother. Alhamdulillah, all good. Thank you so much for having me again. Lots of stuff happening.
Yeah, that's what we were saying before the show. There's so much happening in the world, don't know where to start from. Let's begin from Qatar. How do you see, first of all, give us your opinion about Israel's attack on Qatar, and we'll take it from there.
Blatant state-sponsored terrorism, which is normal to Israel. They've been killing women and children in Gaza. It's no surprise that they're doing that to Qatar. However, there is something very significant with this attack on Qatar that is shifting the whole narrative and the whole perception and understanding of the Arab relationship or Arab establishment's relationship with the United States. The United States sells its bases and its military presence in the Gulf region as a security measure to these establishments. Qatar received guarantees both from the United States and from Israel that there will not be targeted assassinations against them. They know very well that Hamas leadership is there. They have been there for a very long time. Netanyahu was dealing with Qatar. Money was flowing to Gaza when Hamas was ruling Gaza before, with the knowledge of Benjamin Netanyahu from Qatar in cash, over $1 billion. What's the surprise about today? So this is significant, and this is a turning point. And the reason I say this is the other Arab countries are realizing very well now. Firstly, it was clear from the statements that the Qatari foreign minister and prime minister made that we feel betrayed and that there will be a response, and they are preparing for a unified response now. But the whole other Arab countries are realizing now, hold on a second, we're not actually being protected. The radar stopped working, the Qatari foreign minister said when Israel was there. And Donald Trump's lies to the Qatari leadership that they did not know is nothing but empty talk. Everyone knows that Israel couldn't have conducted such an attack against Qatar without the knowledge of the United States. I believe this is a genuine turning point. It's a wake-up call for the Arab countries and Arab establishments. Even if you don't do anything, the fire is coming to your location. The question is, do you want to be going down in history as someone who stood up against it, or as someone who was only getting hit? And I think the next several days and several weeks will be revealing what's happening. There's an Islamic and Arabic summit is going to happen on Sunday and Monday in Qatar. There are already many leaders going to Qatar and Doha to meet with the leadership over there. Even Saudi Arabia told them we have everything at your disposal. There's a lot of things that are going to happen, but this is just showing the true intention of Israel. Expansion, nothing is out of boundaries. And there was a statement that was actually made by the Iranian Supreme Leader several months back that the United States is planning to make Israel the biggest hub in the region and the biggest hub for exporting energy, for exporting technology, the only power in the region. And they're doing that side by side. This notion that, the United States didn't know, all of them, they know that very well. And I think things are only going to escalate from now on. Benjamin Netanyahu isn't looking for de-escalation. The Qatari side told him that the hope to release the prisoners of war is now gone. They're reviewing their role even in the mediation. And there has to be a response that will deter Israel, because if not, the fire is coming again, regardless.
Mahmoud Bhai, the weapons Qataris had was almost the same. They had the THAAD, they had the Patriots protecting their air defense as air defense. They had jets, they had a lot of things, they had Rafales. Nothing was of any, nothing happened.
Nothing happened because the United States wasn't really cooperating and playing ball. Clearly, the United
So,
States had
I'm
knowledge.
sorry, I'm sorry
They
to,
made every
their security, the entire security is outsourced to the US. Are you telling me that? Are you telling me that their entire
high level, clearly to a very high level, absolutely. Otherwise, how would you explain it unless it was a Qatari non-involvement? And listen, we have a version of events that we read about, and there are other versions of events that we may not know about.
Yeah.
One of them is, well, they had potentially prior knowledge. They told the senior Hamas delegation that's why the attack wasn't successful. There were reports that Egypt and Turkey also warned the Hamas leadership. Officially, the Qatari foreign minister said, we only knew from the Americans 10 minutes after the attack
Yeah.
happened. We heard this from the Americans at 3:56. The attack happened at 3:46. And of course, some things might be hidden. But yes, to a very large extent, it is exported to the United States. And now you can clearly see what the United States does or does not do when there's an attack coming from Israel. That's why, if they don't review their whole relationship and strategic cooperation with the United States, they're doomed. It's either you stand up or you completely get eaten by Israel. The United States is not there to protect you. And he clearly made these statements, by the way. The Qatari foreign minister said, we feel betrayed. Why would he say we feel betrayed? And betrayed by who? They know that Israel betrays. It's betrayed by the United States, and clearly the Trump statements that he made against towards them and saying, oh no, we didn't know and it's unfortunate. Empty talk doesn't change from the reality on the ground, which is the United States knew very well that this attack was happening. Benjamin Netanyahu's statement that this was a pure Israeli attack, pure Israeli decision-making, is only to cover up the American complicity and participation, potentially other countries as well. And if there's anyone with an ounce of logic in Qatar or in the other Arab countries, and I'm sure there are, they realize very well what the United States did here. And they know that their turn is coming, the other countries. And if they don't take action now, a unified position now, then it's only a matter of time up until Israel targets them, the other countries too, or even has another attack against Qatar, by the way.
Yeah.
Because Benjamin Netanyahu had a video yesterday. He said that if you don't act against the Hamas leadership, then he knew very well was there. He asked for Qatar to be a mediator anyway. Then we will take action in our own hands. So he's threatening with even more action. The question is, are they going to sit there and do nothing? Or are they going to stand up for once in their life against Israel?
Being a Qatari, this would like ring bells for my own safety. Like, if this could happen, they could target like anyone. This could have been anyone. So I believe there should be a very robust response. Don't know what it should be, but it should be something that could like reclaim their aerial territory, at least like reclaim their sovereignty. I don't know how would that, what would restore all this.
Well, number one, absolutely. And there was a Qatari serviceman who was killed.
Yeah.
Therefore, they're not just targeting any Palestinian, they're targeting Qatar. It's not an attack against Hamas, it's an attack against Qatar as a state. And that's why he was saying that this is a security threat against the whole Gulf. And is this part of Benjamin Netanyahu? And I mean, saying as in the Qatari foreign minister who said that this is an attack against the whole Gulf. And is this part of Benjamin Netanyahu's Greater Israel plan? And this threatens the security of the whole Gulf. Now, to answer the question, what would be the deterrence against Israel? We need to find out what was the deterrence against Israel before. The deterrence against Israel is military action against them. Israel doesn't understand anything but force. Israel stopped attacking Iran after Iran bombarded them. Israel withdrew from Sinai after Egypt attacked them. They withdrew from South Lebanon after resistance. They withdrew from Gaza after resistance. These people don't understand diplomacy. They're not meant to talk to you in diplomacy. It's a neocolonialist entity planted there to bash the Arab states and to bash everyone around it as a guard dog for Western colonialism, now completely supported by the United States. The US administration is in this 100%. And if the Arab states do not take a decisive measure in a unified manner against Israel to deter it, regardless of the potential consequences, then they're done. They're doomed. Because again, this goes back to the argument that some of these establishments had. Their strategic relationship with the United States that claims to be protecting them by having these bases, of course, in a mutual manner, because the Arab know that very well, the Arab leaders. This is showing them, we're here, but we don't protect you. If Israel wants to attack you, then there's nothing. Of course, there's another argument that, the attack could have happened from outside of Qatari airspace, like the attack that happened against Iran before, and that's why there were no air defenses activated. There are vulnerabilities with the air defense systems anyway. That's a whole other argument there. But in general, can you even justify your claim that there was no American involvement? At the end of the day, these flights took over most likely from over Syria and Iraq,
Yeah.
territories that the United States has presence in, right? The United States has presence in Iraqi airspace, has presence in Iraq too. Are you going to tell me that no one detected any of them? Only there were reports that at least 4 participated. 4 fighter jets, an F-16, an F-35, and 2 F-15s. So not all of them are the latest generation, assuming that the latest generation can get away from any sort of detection, which isn't the case, by the way. So, and at the end of the day, these are American weapons. Are you going to tell me that they didn't know exactly how they were used? So what's coming after this is not what's before it. And again, I'm not a person to speak on behalf of any of these Arab establishments, and they have shown inaction in the face of the Israeli genocide in Gaza. However, what people do need to remember is that even the countries that responded to Israel, like Iran, for example, only responded when they were attacked by Israel. So this could be the final excuse for anyone to take a decisive action against Israel, although the whole world already has the international law on their side to take any sort of preemptive action against Israel, being a genocide war criminal entity that has attacked 9 countries in the past 2 years, including Malta, including Tunisia, including Iran, Syria, Lebanon, Gaza, the West Bank, Yemen. You're talking about Europe, Africa, and Asia. And again, if they're not going to take decisive measures, then we'll wait for your turn. Wait for the Israeli fighter jets to come and attack you whenever they want, under any pretext, by the way.
Brother Mahmood, you're right. They've been attacking all over the place, but I don't know. There was some sort of we didn't expect this them doing it in Qatar. Like, it was like, yeah, okay, we could like expect them going in Syria or Lebanon or Yemen, but like Qatar. And the peacemakers, the people who are trying to cut a deal in between, where is, I don't know if this is like so honorless. Being a Muslim, the person who's trying to make a peace, you attack them. Oh my God.
It's a disgraceful act from a humanitarian perspective. What kind of honor? Do these people have any honor? It's a total treacherous act. They were discussing the paper that the United States themselves handed them to reach a ceasefire. They were targeting a delegation talking about a ceasefire in a country that they chose as a mediator to participate in a ceasefire. However, that shows you the level of arrogance and supremacy of Israel and the people who back Israel and the countries that back Israel. Benjamin Netanyahu is working based on belief. He has belief that the greater Israel has to be implemented. The other day he made his feelings very clear, and he's not allowing anyone to stop him. And that is a message not just for Qatar, that's a message to the whole world.
Yeah.
You have a reckless entity here committing a genocide and infanticide and the worst barbaric crimes in history of mankind in Gaza. They're attacking sovereign countries that are allied with the West, by the way. So they're killing foreign nationals as if it's nothing. Israel killed in the past 2 years Americans, British, European, African, Asian, not just the Palestinian people. And it's about time. If it's not now, then when? You need to understand the Israeli mindset, the Zionist mindset, to understand what you need to take against them. And so far, many in the Arab world were sleeping. Now, it was the wake-up call. We're coming to you. We're coming to the Gulf. And if they're trying to push for, like they were talking about expanding their peace process or whatever it is, that shows you exactly what any sort of relationship with them gets you. You get bitten by them eventually. And if they don't take any action, they're going to regret it heavily, because the price is going to be much heavier for inaction rather than it is for an action against them. And it would be far better for the Arab states in the region to take a unified position, like what Qatar is calling for. They're calling for a unified position. They're saying that we are working on a unified position to stop the Israeli hostility. And again, like we said, there is nothing apart from force that Israel understands. So we'll wait and see what they're going to have to do and what builds on top of that afterwards. But we're definitely seeing a new phase now.
We saw the leader of UAE, I think, arrive in Qatar, and I think more Arab leaders are expected today. Do you have any details on that?
Well, he was the first, and funny enough, the UAE is a country that is a participant in what is labeled the Abraham Accords. They have a peace treaty with Israel. He was the first leader to go and show solidarity. Saudi Arabia said, we have everything at your disposal. Many leaders are in Qatar now. Qatar is seeing the leader of Kuwait, other Arab leaders too. And like I said, they're expecting a summit. And that summit is going to happen on Sunday and Monday. And it's not just going to be with Arab countries, but with Muslim countries too. Pakistan made a statement as well. All of that is showing is that there's something being prepared. Israel is escalating also with Turkey too. Egypt knows that it has a threat as well. The senior advisor of Recep Tayyip Erdogan yesterday had a response to one senior Israeli academic, and I'm talking about an official person in the Turkish establishment, the senior advisor of Erdogan. He literally said that because the Israeli academic was saying Qatar first, Turkey next. So the Turkish advisor responded, the world will finally be happy by seeing peace with your erasure of the map. And if you're thinking who's going to do that, it's that country that you're planning to attack next. So, and I know we're talking about statements so far, right? But you're seeing where the pattern is headed. We're seeing a pattern of expansion, a pattern of more Israeli terrorism against neighboring countries and peaceful countries too, countries that haven't actively participated in any sort of hostile action against them, like Qatar. And we are seeing Israel threatening to expand that. So there is no return. This is clearly going all out. Either you submit to their will or you take them down. That's what Israel is forcing everyone to understand by its actions. Because actions speak louder than words. They've been already threatening with talks and greater Israel, and we're going to expand the borders and we're going to change the Middle East. And now they're showing you by action. And the question is, will there be a real response to deter them? Or are we going to hear empty statements again?
So there was this senior fellow, research fellow at some American university on CNBC. He was giving an interview about what happened in Qatar. That guy was of the view that he said that the Israeli knew that the people, the peacemakers, the people who were talking between the both countries, he said that it wasn't going anywhere. It came to a block. So, and no remorse at all. That guy was a scholar, and I couldn't believe what he was saying. He was saying that that entire peacemaking thing wasn't going anywhere. It was stuck. And the people who Israel targeted were actually the people who wanted the deal not to go further. So we actually helped this entire thing. What do you have to say about that?
Well, I think many think tanks in the West and people who are allied with Israel are of a supremacist nature, racist supremacist nature. What is Israel? Israel is a neocolonialist entity. What does Western colonialism base itself upon? Supremacy. We're better than you. We deserve these things that you have, your lands, your fortunes, your everything. You are backward. We are the enlightened ones. And we can do whatever we want. And you need to shut up and listen and obey. Arrogant, supremacist, racist, bigoted approach against other nations. That's what neocolonialism is about. And many in think tanks in the United States and other countries too fall into this bigoted, abhorrent, racist approach. And no matter how much the Arab leaders would want to kind of fool themselves or fall into that, they're making you learn with force. And that's why if they don't take action now, well, you're doomed anyway. That's what Israel is telling you. Your airspace is violated, your sovereignty is violated, we can kill your residents, we can attack based on any pretext and get support from the United States. Because please don't buy this condemnation talk or, Donald Trump trying to take himself out of the position. Again, they are fully participating in this. But the whole world now knows we're talking about a neocolonialist, racist, abhorrent entity. Anyone who supports it has the same abhorrent, racist approach towards that country. And you're either on the humanitarian side or on the dark Zionist side. And some people will try and justify what Israel does in a very shameful manner to this day. However, all of that argument is weak. We see a country committing a genocide, a country breaching international law, not respecting any sort of UN resolution, doing all of these crimes against humanity. And for those who are shameful enough to still justify what it does or support it, that's their own problem. To justify an action against a country that is looking towards peace. This is showing you that the United States and Israel are not interested in peace, are not interested in reconciliation. Israel wasn't planted there by the British Empire or ex-British Empire, now sponsored and supported by the United States as a peace-loving country or as a country to have stability with. They're there to wreak havoc and chaos and to threaten all of the Arab states surrounding them and to prevent any sort of revival coming from these countries. They attack any sort of democracy. They go against people's will. They have wars in the region. And now it's becoming more and more evident that they're looking to escalate up until they, well, in their hopes and plans, will make Israel the only power in the region that will dictate what happens for decades to come. Or we actually see an awakening and a move coming from these countries to adhere to the demands of the people and also respect the human rights of the people of the nation. Because the Israelis, backed by the United States, they believe that they have rights that other people don't. They can kill people freely. The blood of leaders and groups and people in the region is totally legit when it comes to Israel. Are they going to accept that? Or are they going to finally rise up to the threat that is targeting all of them? And again, I think this should be a turning point for them. And this is clearly showing that even if you don't do anything, Israel is coming at you. And when they do, they're going to be backed by the United States as well.
Mahmoud bhai, I'm just curious what would be going through the Qatari Emir's mind after that attack. I mean, how would he not be feeling unsafe as well?
Well, betrayal, number one, lack of security, absolutely. And I think they would be reassessing all of their
Yeah.
moves, by the way. Again, if you have any ounce of logic, you would be reassessing all of your moves. There are already reports that the Qatari state is reassessing its security agreement with the United States and even all of the financial stuff that they have with them. They promised, don't forget, they promised Trump over a trillion
1
in
trillion.
investment when
Yeah.
he visited there, right? Yeah, they're definitely going to be checking that out. And they would definitely feel in a vulnerable position because Israel, that attacked them in this manner, can simply go and attack another place in Qatar in the same manner.
Yeah.
Therefore, hold on a second. The American forces in our region are targeted against us. They're not protecting us. And we need to have a different strategy. And again, that applies on all of the Gulf states, not just Qatar. And they realize that very well. These countries try and distance themselves, try and not be involved to protect their position as economic focused countries, focusing on the financial development, diversifying their economies. And despite that, you have an entity of terror backed by a greater entity of terror, conducting attacks against them for simply trying to achieve peace. The families of the prisoners of war were in Qatar. Qatar was the country that was releasing Israeli prisoners of war because they were mediating. There were people working around the clock to try and reach a deal, only faced with Zionist arrogance and stubbornness. We're talking about something far bigger than what is being portrayed here. And now they told them, and they knew exactly what they were saying when the foreign minister of Qatar said that no hope remains for the prisoners of war in Gaza. That means, at least from a Qatari perspective, you can forget about them putting in any more effort for Benjamin Netanyahu. After he's done that, and now threatening with even more attacks, with the recent statement that he made yesterday, telling them, if you don't act, then we're going to act. Showing no remorse, no nothing whatsoever. Saying that I can basically kill more Qataris if I wish. And again, that's the pretext used now. They can create any other pretext whenever, whether there's Hamas there or no Hamas there. It can come up with any pretext. Funding, channeling, legitimizing, doing this and that. Your land was promised 2,000 or 3,000 years ago. They'll come up with any excuse.
That's true. Now, what do you see the future of the peace talks?
The peace talks are dead. I don't think there's going to be any peace so long as Israel as a Zionist entity exists. The Zionist establishment must be completely removed. Israel should be viewed as an illegal country by the whole world, and decisive measures must be taken to dismantle Israel as an apartheid entity, and people should have equal rights between the Jordan River to the sea. If that doesn't happen, and even if there would be somehow some sort of a ceasefire tomorrow, you're not talking about any sort of solution or peace. Because, like I said, Benjamin Netanyahu isn't interested in peace. Benjamin Netanyahu is interested in escalation. And he is clearly showing his intention with the recent escalations that he's doing in the region with all of the countries, not just the countries that are, or he claims to be supporting the Palestinian resistance, but also countries that take a peaceful approach. And imagine a country taking a peaceful approach like Qatar and him treating them like that. What is he going to do with the other countries in the region? There will be no peace so long as Israel as an apartheid entity exists.
Let's take us to Gaza now. I've heard that they're pushing more grounds on Gaza. What's the status over there? What's the situation like?
Israel is committing the worst crimes on earth in Gaza. Every day they're killing dozens of people, if not hundreds of people, through direct military action against the civilian infrastructure and civilians, medical complexes and hospitals and bakeries and aid points. And if not by that, then through starvation or lack of proper treatment, because there are 150,000 wounded people and they are not getting sufficient treatment. Now, Israel is saying, or has said, that it's planning Operation Gideon's Chariots B as a continuation to Gideon's Chariots A to take down the Palestinian resistance in Gaza. They haven't declared that this operation began because they knew very well that this operation is going to fail against the resistance like all of the other operations failed. Instead, what they're doing is they're increasing the misery against the civilian population by attacking high-rise buildings that some refugees move to from other locations to, of course, under the never-ending and limitless pretext of Hamas being there or potentially using these buildings. So what we saw Israel doing the past couple of days is destroy more high-rise buildings. These high-rise buildings had many refugees inside them, people who were displaced from other locations. And Benjamin Netanyahu is trying to also deviate the attention from Gaza by having these attacks under the pretext of targeting the Hamas leaders in Qatar and other places to cover up the failure of Gaza. Let's not forget Israel is facing the biggest military humiliation and failure inside of the Gaza Strip because they're being faced by fierce Palestinian resistance that will not raise the white flag, will not hand in its weapons, and will fight Israel with whatever they have in terms of capacity and capability. So whenever he starts to have more pressure against him from the civilian population, from the families of the prisoners of war, and whenever he has internal divisions as well, because listen, some of the leaders in the Israeli army are against this operation in Gaza because they know they're not equipped. They don't have enough people. Tens of thousands are killed or wounded. Over 100,000 have PTSD from the Israeli army. What are they going to do? They can destroy buildings. They can kill civilians. The resistance will remain. Even if they take down the first line of leadership, others will emerge because Israel left the Palestinian people with no other chance, with no hope. You have a racist, Jewish supremacist occupation believing that they are entitled to everything, viewing others as subhumans and treating them as such. It's only a matter of time before that explodes in their face. And now that supremacy is reaching other countries too, like the Qatari country, focusing on actually having a solution. And where they failed in Gaza, they're trying to cover it up with these attacks on other countries as well. But the core thing that is happening now, and I think people need to realize this very well, is that, excuse me, Benjamin Netanyahu is not looking to get any sort of deal and is not looking to have any sort of de-escalation. And I think now it's clearer than ever that the man doesn't want any sort of de-escalation. If he wanted to have a deal, there were multiple deals on the table. There were multiple deals that he could have accepted. There was a recent proposal that was accepted by the Palestinian side based on the Witkoff proposal that Netanyahu didn't even address. You had an American side backing him completely by shifting the blame on the Palestinian side. And again, that's not the first time that the Palestinians accepted a ceasefire and Israel rejected. We were in a ceasefire that Israel breached more than once. And during the implementation time, they were breaching. It was supposed to go into phase 2 and 3 and end the war and end the genocide. They didn't want that because they have other things in mind. Benjamin Netanyahu is even refusing safety nets from opposition members for his government to continue whilst having a deal in case some other elements in his government resign because of a deal. And he's also refusing that. You're talking about something beyond political here. Benjamin Netanyahu has a vision. And that vision is having Israeli superiority over the whole region, imposing Israel. He's dedicated to the greater Israel, he's saying, plan, and he's implementing it. Now, are the people around him gonna realize this, or have they realized this by now? And are they going to act accordingly? There is no reasoning with him, and there is no reasoning with Israel, by the way. And you can forget about opposition in Israel too. So even if Netanyahu goes tomorrow and you have an opposition leader, the same opposition was supporting the Israeli attack on Qatar. The opposition that says, oh, release them, and they were supporting an attack on Qatar. Why? Because they have the same supremacist Zionist mentality. We are above you. We are entitled to do whatever we want, and you need to take total inaction. Therefore, things are headed towards more escalation. And all of the talk about the United States and Israel, having disagreements here and there, nothing is substantiated. The American president is paralyzed when it comes to Benjamin Netanyahu. He shows complete paralysis. Netanyahu can conduct anything that he wants with the blessing and knowledge of the United States. And as a matter of fact, the United States administration is potentially benefiting from all of this. And they could potentially actually want Israel to do all of that for their own strategic purposes as well.